This is part 2 of Project 2's video. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to bring in the parcel data from Orange County's property appraisers information into our project. So we can get parcel data from Orange County from a website. Go to your internet, and what you're going to do is you're going to type in fgdl.org. And what pops up is going to be this website. Now, this website has a ton of information for all of Florida. It's a database for all of our GIS information that is open source or shared throughout the state. What we're going to do is we're going to want to come up to the FTP site, and we're going to look at it based on a county directory. Now, inside that county, I want to come down here to Orange because I want the data from Orange County. So I'm going to click on Orange County, and what pops up is going to be the parent directory and the Orange core. I want to go to the Orange core. From there, what I have is all of these zip files that has the GIS data in there. So I want to come down and I want to find, here's the thing, is you have to recognize what some of this information means. Like FEMA, these are our floodplain maps. Basins, those are our drainage basins. The high HY 10 P48, that's a hydrology 10-year event, 48-hour storm event. You can see that there's parcels, tax maps, roads, topography, USGS, there's wind zones. All of this is data that's just related to Orange County. So I want the parcels. Now I'm going to click on parcels, and what it does is it starts to download. Now it can take quite a bit of time to download it. It may take it fairly instantaneously. Go ahead and save it to your desktop, save it to your hard drive, whatever. I'm going to close out of that because I've already downloaded the information and saved it to a file. So I'm going to go ahead and go there to the file that I've been working on. It's going to download in the background, and that's fine. So right now I've got my project saved as I've got the zip file saved as parcels 1048. So double click on it, and you'll want to extract all of that data, and you're going to create a folder to place that data in. So I'm going to place it inside my Project 2 folder, or my Class 2 folder. You just have to be aware of where you've saved that data. So I'm going to say this PC, and this is how my computer's working. So when you're working at home, it might be different. So you might save everything to your Esri Press folder and create a file for it there. I'm actually putting mine onto a flash drive because I'm working on a Surface Pro, so I don't have a whole lot of space on my hard drive. So I'm going to go to Intro to Class 2 Material. I'm going to make a new folder, and I'm going to call it Parcels 2016 because I'm using it in class year 2016, and go OK. Now I'm going to extract all that data, and it's going to put it all in that folder. Now, while it's doing that, I'm actually going to go ahead and close this down because I've already extracted the data and put it into a folder just called Parcels. So if you look at my folder for Class 2, while that's extracting, I've already got the parcel data in the Class 2 folder. So just be aware of where your parcel data is, because the amount of time it takes to extract information, all that, I don't want to take downloading this video while it's doing that. Okay, so here's where the parcel data is that I've extracted. All of this information is going to be used in our projects. Now, what we're actually going to input is going to be a shape file, and it is going to be this shape file here. So it's going to say Orange Parcels 10. So that's what we're going to bring in. All right, now I've got instructions in the PDF on how to download the documents and all that. So if you need additional help, you can go ahead and scroll through the information in the instructions to do that. Let me scroll up so you can see where that's at. View. Okay, so this is where part two video starts, is this page right here. So you'll be able to see it with the instructions, step by step. Okay? Now that I've got my data and I've got it saved, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to bring the data in. Remember what I said before, this little plus button here brings all my data in. So I'm going to say add data, and I'm going to browse out to where I find my data. So I'm going to go, now here's the other thing. You're going to have to create a folder to get to that information. So I need to go up to my home folder, and connect to folders, and I'm going to go to, this is on my PC, so I need to go to my removable disk, and you're going to be sending everything to your local drive, your C drive. Do not do it as a removable disk, because you won't be able to, you'll have to reassociate everything, which isn't a big deal, but that's what I'll have to do for my projects. I'm going to go to project 2 and go OK. When you connect to a folder, it's going to allow you to go to all the information that's in that folder. So I'm going to double click on the parcels, and I'm going to pick that shapefile, and I'm going to click add. Now when it does that, it's going to bring in your shapefile with a shading. So I'm going to go ahead, and it's taking a few minutes to bring this in. All right, see how it's shaded green? All right, that means whatever in GIS, whatever's on top is the one that's the most current to what you're viewing. So since the GIS layers are on top, then you're not going to be able to see the aerial below it. So what I have to do is I have to change the fill of this. So you can change the symbology of this information. So symbology is going to be a key word that we're going to be using throughout this semester when we're working in GIS, right? Now, just as an FYI, if you looked at the properties, right-click and look at the properties of this information, you can see where the source is located. So this is the path. So if you ever lose your path, you can reset it by looking here to find where that shapefile is located. Also note that the projected coordinate system for this map is the Albers conical. So you want to make sure that our projected system is the GIS North American. Okay, so we'll talk about projections again a little bit later in the semester. So I've got properties I want to double check. I'm still on the Harn, so it's transferring that Albers conical projection onto our map. All right, now I want to change this symbol, so I'm going to click on the symbol, and what it's going to do is pop up the symbol selector. What I want to do is I'm going to click on hollow, and I am going to change the outline width. I'm going to change it to 0.5, and I'm going to change the outline color to an orange color, just so you can see it easily. You can go OK. It'll take a minute. Now you can see the orange color coming in. It takes a bit to regenerate these because these are very large maps and very large pieces of information. In the future classes, I'll show you how to pare down some of the information. If I only want to look at something specific in a specific area, I can extract only a certain area that I want. I won't show that to you now. I'll show it to you in the future classes. So I'm going to zoom in on my parcel. Now, because I'm using a Surface Pro and it's got small screen and all this, and I'm trying to record what's on my screen, I'm going to make that the orange lines a little bit bolder, only for you all to see. So you don't have to do it for your project, but for mine, I'm going to make it a little bit bolder so you can see it. I'm going to change that to 1. Okay. Again, it'll take a minute or two, a little bit of time to regenerate. The other thing I want to talk about is what all this means. We talked about in the first class what layers mean. Layers mean that data. So layers can be, in the parcels, the data that we have are going to be polygons. So that's the shape of our parcel data. We can also click on this and rename the file, rename it and just say parcels. All right. Now, what we can also do is, let me scooch this back over. When you right click on, when you right click on the data, I want to look at open the attribute table. This is what I mean by what information is all available to us with respect to our layers that we're bringing in. So remember what I said, you have 3 different shapes that data is related to. It's either going to be point, line, or polygon. So the FID is just a number that the computer associates to a specific object. So all of our shapes are going to be polygons. Then it's going to have an actual ID. Then you have information like parcel ID. You have information in here that has to do with the location of the parcel, the owner of the parcels. For example, here's where the physical address, what city it's in, what state it's in, the zip code. Now, some of this information doesn't mean a whole lot to us, but it means information to people that are collecting data that are going to be using it for something other than just visually seeing parcels on a map. You have different exempts, like homestead exempts, a bunch of information. We're not going to go through specifically what all this information means and what it means to us, but it does mean something like, I want to know the physical area of an object. I want to know what the description is. Single family, multifamily, residential, commercial, things like that. Is it institutional like Valencia colleges? So there is a bunch of information. And notice down here it says 0 out of 300,000 371 parcels. That's how much information's in here. There's a lot of information. The other thing you can do to find out information is there's an icon up here that allows you to select identification of information. So I can hit the I and click on that, and what it'll do is it'll give me the specific information of that object. Give it a second. So it's identifying all this information specifically. So that is very helpful to us when we're working on a job that somebody goes, well, what's the zoning? What's the area of it? Who owns that parcel? Let's see what else it's got in here. The legal description of the parcel, the physical address, the Census Bureau information. And what the description is, it tells me it's a college. There's 184 plus or minus acres, the land use code. So there's a lot of information available based on this. And that's what the website has, the FGDL website. It has a ton of information for all of Florida. Now I want to create and bring in the template that I used for my project. So down here, you have your data view and your layout view. So I'm going to switch to my layout view, and it automatically brings up this toolbar. So I'm going to go ahead and sync that toolbar down here. And what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to change something else I want to specifically show you. Let's see if it's there. There should be, it doesn't show up on mine, but in my notes, it may show up on yours, but it doesn't show up. Let me zoom out full extent. Give it a second. All right, here it is. Oops, undo. Right here, actually I am going to move it, just move it over. Oop. Oh, snap, sorry. I've got to let it regenerate. I'm clicking too fast for the computer. So give it 1 second. I'll stop touching the buttons. Down here at the bottom in the white, you can kind of see it. It has information on the source. So I'll zoom in. And to zoom in, remember when you're in layout view, use the zoom with the layout tool. The source says where all the information that in this project comes from. So we'll have to modify that to make sure that all of our source data. So basically it says that this information is coming from, this base map is coming from here. We'll actually have to type in the source data for the parcel information. So I'm going to go ahead and just zoom back out on this. The next thing that I want to do is I want to change the layout. So this button right here says, give it a second, says change layout. It's the two little icons. So I'm going to click on the change layout, and what it wants to do is I'm going to have to browse out to where I saved my template. So I've got my template on my desktop today. I may have it in a different location in my file folder. So I'm going to click OK, and it looks like this. So I'm just going to say finish. And what it does is it brings in my layout. Again, may take a minute or two to bring everything in, and it looks like this. Now notice down here on my map, the scale is whacked. So I'm going to go back to my data view, and I'm going to change the scale up here, because map scales have to match. And I'm going to change that scale to 1200. Give it a second. Now I'm going to switch back to the layout view. Give it a second. Because of the parcels, like I said before, it has so much information, it takes a few to draw all the parcels back in. So now I'm going to go to my layout view, and I'm going to switch this to the top. Oops, I lied. It shouldn't have been 1200, it should have been 12,000. So I'm going to switch back to my layout, or my data view. So, again, I have to wait for the parcels to regenerate. I'm going to switch that map scale to 12,000, not 1200. It's zoomed in too tight. There we go. That looks better. Now I can see everything. Once it regenerates the parcels, I'm going to switch back to layout view. And I'm going to change the layout view to 1200 also, or 12,000 also, as soon as it regenerates. And it should fix my scale bar. We'll have to do a few more modifications on the scale bar. Ugh, again, I typed it wrong. Give me a second. 12,000. There. Now your drawing should look something like this. Next we need to modify the scale bar. And instead of using it, before we had this template set at 100 feet, we're going to set it at 1,000 feet. So double click on your scale and change that to 1,000 feet. We're going to leave everything else the same. So you're just going to click OK. And now we're set. The next thing that I want to do is I'm going to zoom in down here so you can see it. I want to insert my legend. So it's a dynamic, up where you had inserted dynamic text before and all that. So again, I have to wait for the parcels to regenerate. Insert a legend. Now the legend's going to be built on all the layers that we have in here. I do not want information, I only want to have a legend on my parcels. If you're following the notes, and I'll show you that quickly. If you're following the notes, I didn't rename the parcel information in the notes. You don't have to, but I went ahead and did in this one. So let me click here. So when I went to insert the legend, the reason this legend doesn't look like what's in the notes is because I changed my parcel name in the video, but I didn't change it in the written instructions, just FYI. So the thing that I want to see is I only want to see what the parcels are. So I'm gonna take these and I'm gonna shift them over to get them out of our drawing. I'm gonna go ahead and take the world image out of my legend. So I only want to see parcels. So I'm going to click next. It's thinking. So I click next and it's going to step me through a legend wizard. I need to go back one because I hit next twice. So the first time you hit it, it should look like this. Now, on this, I'm going to delete the word legend because I've already got it over here, so I don't want it duplicate. Now I'm going to hit next, and here's where you can actually do a border or a frame. I'm going to leave it as is, and I'm just going to hit next. Now, I've got the parcel information in there, and I'm just going to go ahead and hit next. We can change the data in the columns and all that information. We'll look at this a little bit later in the semester. Since we only have one piece of data in here, I'm just going to say finish. So it's building the legend. And I'm going to bring it and slide it up here. And now I've got parcels. Now I can change the text size of that legend. I'm going to click the legend. And I can change that to text size 10. To make it look a little bit better, or actually it might look a little bit better if it was a text size of 12. Okay? So in the video, or in the text, the PDF, I click and I change the layer names over here. I want to take a look at the properties. So in general, the layer, and this is following the PDF, in the instructions, I go through here and I go through the step-by-step with the wizard. Now, on this one, I changed to Orange County parcels. So if I change that layer name, so I go Orange County parcels, I can click OK, and now it says Orange County parcels. Now I also can check this, go properties, and I'm just following, oops, sorry, picked the wrong thing. I want to click the parcels in the legend, go OK, and on this I can uncheck under the General tab, uncheck the title Show. So you can uncheck that one and apply and OK. All right? Now, that's if you had the word legend on top of it. All right. The next thing that you'll want to do is, I'm going to zoom all the way back out of here. Oh, I'm not. Since I'm already zoomed in here, I want to change the name of my map. So I'm going to double click on that, and I'm going to change where it says name of map. I'm going to give it a meaningful name, and I'm going to say, all caps, Orange County parcels, and leave it at that. Okay? Now, I'm going to say apply and OK. And I also have to change the figure. So once it regenerates, I'll bring in and I'll change the figure name. So I'm going to change this figure. I'm going to double click on it, and I'm going to change it to Project 2 and apply and OK. Give it a second. Now, notice that this Project 2 is pushed over. It's not center. Now, what I'll have to do, since I don't have the tools, the toolbar that I need to get it aligned, I'm going to right-click up in this gray area, and I need my graphics toolbar. And I'm just going to grab it and sink it down here. You don't have to sink it. It's up to you. I like to just get it out of my workspace. So I'm going to click on the word projects, and I want to click on, I'm going to hold shift, and I'm going to click the box that's around projects. Now when that does, it activates the rest of these toolbars, and I want to shift it. I want to align it vertically, and I want to align it in the center of the object. Okay, so now the word's in the center of my information. The next thing that I want to do is you can actually insert the dynamic text of I can remember where it's at. Service layer credits. So if I click on that, that piece of information that had where this layout map came from, where the base map came from, that's their Esri information. So I'm going to change that text size to 5. Now this isn't in the written instructions. This is just extra that I wanted to show you. Okay. Now, the other piece of source of information, I'm going to double click on the inside of here, is going to be the source credit of fgdl.org Orange County parcel data. Apply and OK. And that allows me to put my source information. So I'll put that up here. I'm going to pull this all the way out to get that information in there. Now, if the source data doesn't fit all in there, we may have to modify our legend box. So we may have to bring this down a little bit to get the source data to fit in there to look nice. Okay, and we can use our guides to snap to it. So what I'll do is I'm going to zoom in on this so I can see it. Remember, escape doesn't always work, so you'll have to hit the little black arrow, and I'm going to snap to that guide. And I'm going to zoom back out whole page. So that gets our source information in there. All right. Now, the next thing is we don't print these maps. We actually create them as PDFs. So I want you to create the PDF, and you're going to upload it. So you're going to come over here to File. You're going to export the map. You're not technically printing the map. You're going to export the map. Now, the format that you're going to export it as is a PDF. You can leave the resolution and everything else the same. So I'm going to locate where I'm exporting. I'm going to put mine to my flash drive just because, again, I'm working on a Surface Pro and I don't have a lot of space. So I'm going to send it to Class 2, and there's my project, and I just click Save. It's thinking. Now, it actually might pop up as a PDF on your screen, so it'll show you what it looks like, or you might have to go looking for it. So mine says export complete, and it didn't pop up. So I'm going to close that window. I'm going to go out to where I told it to save as. I'm going to go to Spring, Intro to GIS, Class 2, and there's my project. I open it up, and it should look something like this. This is what you're going to upload to me, and you're also going to upload your file to me. Now, when we get into the next class, when you open the file, if your data isn't where it's supposed to be, if it says, okay, you've lost your data, what you might have to do is data and then repair source. And I'll show you that in another video. All right, that's it for now. This is the end of Project 2. If you have any questions, just send me an email on it, and if not, I'll see you in class.